How do you feel about being a professional salesperson? Are you proud? Proud to be a salesperson? Do you look at yourself like a business person, or do you look at yourself as somebody that just kind of hawks products and you're really not that excited about it? Either way, the way we look at selling is going to have a major impact on how successful we are. It's going to affect how we communicate with people. It's going to affect how we establish relationships, how we ask questions, how we engage in conversations, how we handle objections, and how we close. It's going to affect everything. And I've noticed there's three very, very common mental barriers, if you will, that are very common with salespeople. And I know I've had some of these myself. And I want to share those with you in this video to help you get in touch with how you're feeling about your role. And I'm going to focus on lawn care for this video. So the first one, and I had a real bad case of this when I first started selling. It's this need to be liked. Now don't get me wrong. In selling, it is important that we're liked. But I was taking it way, way too far. I was prioritizing likability over establishing trust and credibility. If you think about it in lawn care, you guys have a lot of knowledge. There's a lot to know. Your buyers don't have anywhere near the depth of knowledge that you do. What you want to focus on to be truly successful, and what your buyers want, is understanding the gap between what it is they want with their property. Do they want a golf course quality? Do they just want to green it up a little bit? What do they want? What's their vision? And how do they feel about it? And where are they right now? See, they contact your company because they've got this gap. Here's what they want, here's where they are. Your job is to assess exactly what's going on. You're like a doctor. Your job is to assess what's going on and then help them understand how you and your company can close that gap so they can get what they want. And in order to do that, you're going to have to demonstrate to them that you're a consultant. You're a consultant. You're a professional. You have the ability to diagnose, just like a doctor does. If you try to go about earning business by just being a sweetheart and being liked and being super nice to people, you're not going to build the level of credibility and respect and trust that you need to. I had this problem when I first started selling really, really bad. When I first started selling, I would have to say I was pretty insecure about the whole process, you know. I think I had a negative impression of salespeople. I thought that I was thinking more along the lines of a used car salesperson, you know, with no integrity and shoving things down people's throat even though they didn't need it. I had that going on in my head. And fortunately, I had a terrific manager, leader. His name was Gary LaPlante. This was at Sonatrol in Hartford, Connecticut. I was selling telephone systems to businesses. And he said, man, you know, you've got to build business credibility with people, or you're not going to beat the competition. They're going to go with somebody that they just have a higher level of confidence in. You know, you're going about it by trying to be everybody's friend. We need to change that. And the first thing that was so helpful is just him simply pointing it out, because I didn't realize the degree to which I was doing that, and I didn't realize how impactful that can be in my success. So he helped me with that, number one. And then he helped me work on it and be more credible. So ask yourself, do you have a little bit of this going on? You know, are you prioritizing being liked over being credible and trusted? And if you are, admit it, it's fine. Then put a plan together to work on it. All right, the next thing is and it's sort of linked to this, is just having a negative view of selling in general, which I did to a degree. Here's another mental block that I had. And one of the things in lawn care especially that I see reps saying to me is, man, all these questions in discovery, boy, I feel like I'm being really pushy. I feel like I'm being intrusive. I'm asking them all these questions, and I don't think people like it. I mean, they have a negative view of asking probing questions. questions are your number one go-to tool throughout every phase of selling. You need information. If you're going to help people close that gap, you're going to have to diagnose the problem. You're going to have to understand the pain that they're going through, and you're going to have to understand why they feel the way they do. A couple of questions that are so key are asking, hey, thanks a lot for calling today, really appreciate it. How did you hear about us? We need to find that out, because if they got a referral, if their neighbor is using us, well, they may be pretty far down the road in buying, right? Because they've seen the product, they've seen the results, and neighbor says, yeah, this lawn care company I'm using is fantastic. Or conversely, if they found out about your company through a Google search, maybe they're on the internet searching around for price. That's a whole different ballgame. You're not going to find that out unless you ask those questions. You need to find out, do you currently have a provider? That's great. What's putting you in the market? You have a provider. Tell me about the experience. Because obviously, if they've got a provider, they're not satisfied with the results they're getting. And the other thing is are they just shopping around for a low price? What is their buying motivation? What is their compelling reason to buy? What are they looking for? You won't find that out unless you ask questions. The other thing you need to identify through asking questions is what's their personality style? Are they an analytic? Are they a controller? Because when you go to give them information, you've got to understand their personality style, because every personality style receives information in a different way. This becomes highly important. Asking questions is key. I mean, think about it. You go to the doctor, let's say. Your stomach is bothering you. You go into the doctor's office. Doctor says, hi, tell me what's going on. You say, man, my stomach is really bothering me. Okay, great. Let me write you a prescription. You're going to go, wait a minute. Aren't you going to ask me like when it started and when it happens? Does it happen when I wake up? Does it happen after I eat dinner? Does it happen when I exercise? Aren't you going to ask me about that? Aren't there a lot of medications for stomach ailments? You're just going to pull one out of the hat without having any information? You're in the same boat. You're like a doctor. You're a lawn care doctor. You've got to assess the problem. You've got to diagnose the problem, and then you've got to provide a solution. The only way you can do this is by asking questions. And you'll do it as part of a conversation. It's not an interrogation where you got a sheet of paper and you're going down and you're asking them a whole series of questions. You'll ask these questions as part of a conversation. And by the way, they want to share with you how they're feeling and what their thoughts are. The number one thing anybody wants to talk about is themselves. They want to share this with you. So it's not being intrusive, it's not being pushy. It's a really, really important part of your job. Make sense? All right, the third thing I want to share with you is the importance of being able to remain confident in the face of adversity. And a lot of representatives have a challenge when they get to getting objections from a buyer, right? That's adversity. The rep starts having a conversation in their head. Oh my God, I thought this was going so well. Now this is going off the rail. I don't know what I'm going to do. I thought I was going to close this. Boy, I guess I'm not. They're having this conversation in their head while this this buyer is continuing to talk, and the rep is not engaged with them, and now there's a disconnect in the process. We've got to be confident when things aren't going exactly the way that we planned. We have to be adaptive, and we've got to be very confident. And the other thing is critical with this. How do you become more confident? Well, you become confident by following a process. You look at firemen, you look at pilots, you look at doctors. All of these people encounter massive adversity. And the way they're able to keep their head screwed on straight is by following a process. They fall back to the process that enables them to move forward. Selling is no different. That's your responsibility, to study questioning, to study handling objections, and practice it. Be a professional. And when you get confident and you're effective at these, you'll handle the adversity. You'll be able to keep your head in the game. I want to leave you with this. At the time I'm making this video, the Summer Olympics are going on in France. And I've been fascinated by Simone Biles. You probably have as well. This is a woman who is extremely talented, who has worked for years diligently to perfect her craft, and she is absolutely at the top of her game and one of the best on the planet. Imagine that, one of the best on the planet. And even she went through a period where mentally and emotionally she felt that she couldn't perform. right? You remember that. And the other night, I heard her say, I have been training my mind for years to handle adversity. I've been trained, this is what she said, I have been training my mind to be able to stay focused on what I need to do in the face of adversity. I mean, think of it. In that stadium, there's thousands of people watching her. And then on TV, there's millions of people watching her. And she's performing on this beam, which is 4 inches wide. She's learned how to deal with the pressure. And you and I need to do that too. We need to work on that so that we can perform at our highest level during the face of adversity. All right, I hope this has been a help. What I want you to do in leaving this video, I want you to take a look at your mental state. I want you to ask yourself, honestly, how do I feel about my position? How do I feel about making contact, handling objections? How do I feel? Do I need to be liked? How am I doing when I reach adversity? Ask yourself those questions and go on a learning path. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.